Happy Valentine's Day, February 14, 2021. And it's happening around the globe. Not everybody thinks it's romantic. Some are like in affection for their families and all that. But still, the Day of the Heart lives and it has some history. And on the news now, well, there's big time stories. And in fact, one very amazing one is about a Valentine card that transferred over 80 years to date. Now, it started with a history between two sisters in 1941, who one of them found it saying, "My Valentine to my sister." Very unusual for that time, not like today, where things are increasingly bigger population, different changes in marketing and all of that. So, but nevertheless, one sister sent it to the other and they kept exchanging it back and forth. Now, that really is the gift of giving. It's so indigenous, you could say, to Valentine's, what the heart is and what love means and how we think about this. One sister, as it said, they're no longer alive. It did go for 71 years, and one now afterwards, the cousins are beginning to exchange it, and they're hoping it's been 80 years, and they want to do it to 100. So that's quite a goal. And they would say that the one sister was a saint, and she collected clowns. The other had a temper, and she collected angels. So perhaps she wanted to have that angel attitude. And they didn't keep secrets. It was open love, compatibility, trust between the two of them. And they died 2 months apart, 92 and 94. So let's look at this chart that it might share something today about that story right here. This is a natural chart with Aries at the beginning. It just shows the energies. And there is that Aquarius stellium. It is February. The sun is in Aquarius. And in fact, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's quite a stellium. It's pretty big. And as we were saying, when the moon was there, which it's not now, the moon has gone over to Aries. But what's the significance here? How can we see that energy of this love factor, that this story? And first of all, we can learn about the feeling of the heart through love and through a story. You know, right now, Venus, that goddess of love, attraction, and of desire, is also of our values and what matters. And she is right there at 16 degrees Aquarius, in conjunction with our mental minds and conjunct to Jupiter, which are ruling the nodes at this moment. The nodes of our cultural history and of communication, of the depth of and transportation. Just think, as they said, that card traveled back and forth over the miles, over the years. And the action planet, Mars, right here, is in Taurus of our values. And it's squaring its ruler, which happens to be Venus. That's why maybe this story has such depth to us. And in that, it's what is our authentic values, the ones of caring. And the moon tells us of storytelling. Now, the moon is ruling that Mars, and it's in early Aries. This was at 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun is about to rise in most places. And that is quickly moving and going to aspect and connect all these energies in Aquarius of elevated vision and of community and also of our nodes. So Aries is of defense and causes. Aries is becoming an identity. You know, through love, we become an identity. And it has action. So it tells the stories of our heart, the values of communication, of commitment, vulnerability, caring, and giving. Neptune even here, which is in aspect to both of these is telling about faith, illusion, inspiration, movies. So New York City, that's another big item where named people are telling their love stories to their city. Isn't that amazing? Maybe we're interested because it is the North Node in Gemini, which is of siblings, which are a story of the two sisters, because there's many stories that we could be listening to, but these are big on the news. And also of the city, of our neighborhoods, like the Queens, the Bronx, um, Staten Island, Manhattan, and there's one I'm missing, Brooklyn, of course. So Rio Moreno, the great TV Broadway film, says, miss you so much, the warmth, the cold. A writer, actor, producer, Chaz Palminteri says, dear New York City, true love always prevails. Isn't that the truth? That's really what love's about. And I believe in us. Love's a romance. I know it never ends. I never really left you. And a paramedic, Anthony Almorhara of the fire department, said he's a lieutenant, paramedic lieutenant. I've traveled, but never was there a first. Aries is always the first. And so is Aquarius. Aquarius is the first love. Because I know it'll never end. And what a privilege growing up where the world is outside my street. So these are tales that we matter. Senator Chuck Schumer, he added one. And New York Met, Dwight Doc Gooden, he added to this. Well, where did it all start? You know, Chaucer, 600 years ago, had Canterbury Tales, and he thought perhaps that was the first reference. He made a 669-line poem about Parliament of Fowls, about these eagles. And really, it was like a coded language of King Richard II of England and Anne of Bohemia. They had to wait 5 years. It was a political deal. Most marriages are. But in the poem, one eagle, a female eagle, refuses to choose among her suitors and asks Mother Nature to give her another. And they're thinking, you know, what's a year? And in fact, it really showed perhaps the beginning of the energy of female love, that it was beginning to matter, that there was real love involved. Because what is love? It has so many different dimensions. Venus has its attraction and its desire. Neptune is universal love. And we're always struggling with the personal and the objective. And right now, at the time of Valentine's Day, it is a time when it is of the group objectivity. Aquarius thinks of the group. And in fact, that really began in the very beginning in 270, when Valentine, who was a saint, became a saint, was imprisoned. He was marrying people, warriors. And at that time, it wasn't allowed because it was Claudius said, no, you have to love the government. You know, you can't be marrying people. You know, you have to be out there doing war. And so they imprisoned Valentine and eventually executed him. And the last letter he wrote was to his daughter that had been blind, that he supposedly cured, and said, from your Valentine. Well, amazingly, as the pendulum goes, 200 years later, when Rome had become Christian, it was all this switch from paganism, again, trying to say, yay, we are now going to have this as a Valentine's Day. But you know, history is a reflection of times and of life. And now, right now, we have in the South Node here, look at this, Juno of alliances, is our belief system is at 16. And actually, if we go back to that bi-wheel back then of the original time, you can see that we have that our South Node is connected with that energy of Sag, you know, our belief systems of series, reclaiming our belief structure. And what about, yes, getting that value system of what matters. That's really what it's all about. So happy Valentine's. It's really quite a day. It's a day to individuate. Yes, thanks so much. Subscribe and comment. See you tomorrow.